You still sitting there, waiting for the apology that'll never come? Still expecting them to see what you gave, what you sacrificed, what you shattered inside just to hold on to people who didn't even bother asking if you were okay? Let me break it to you, kid. They saw. They noticed. They just didn't care. That's the part that cuts deep, right? Not that they didn't know, but that they knew and still chose to walk away, still chose silence over truth, distance over healing. Now you're sitting here, broken pieces in your hands, trying to figure out where you went wrong. Let me save you some time. You didn't go wrong. You went real. And that scared the hell out of people who only know how to play fake. See, this world, it doesn't reward loyalty. It uses it, bleeds it dry. You keep showing up, they keep stepping back. You give more, they demand more. You break yourself just to keep them whole, and the moment you stop, you're the villain. Ain't that beautiful? How silence becomes your crime once your voice is no longer begging. You thought love would save them, thought kindness would bring them back. You even lowered your standards, your self-respect, trying to make room for their absence. But here's the truth, and I ain't sugarcoating it. Some people are more addicted to hurting you than healing with you. They won't admit they broke you. Instead, they'll tell the world you changed after they shattered you. And now, you got one option. War. You think I'm being dramatic? Nah. I'm being honest. Cold, hard, ugly truth kind of honest. This ain't about picking up a weapon or screaming in the streets. This is about choosing violence against your old self. That version of you that begged, chased, explained, waited. That soft version that hoped they'd understand one day. That sat in rooms full of people and still felt alone. That version that died 100 times in silence. Every time they left you on red, every time they came back and left again like your soul was some damn motel. That version needs to be buried, because what's coming next needs a version of you they've never met. A version that doesn't chase, doesn't explain, doesn't even flinch. They wanted war. You give them silence so loud it echoes in their pride. You give them peace so cold it makes them miss the chaos you used to calm in their lives. You give them distance so permanent it turns their memories into pain. And no, I ain't talking revenge. I'm talking evolution. The kind where you rise so silently they choke on the thought of you. Where your presence becomes a mystery and your progress becomes their punishment. You get what I'm saying? This ain't about making them sorry. It's about making you unstoppable. You think healing is supposed to be soft, gentle, pretty? No. Healing is war. It's walking past the places where you lost yourself without crying. It's seeing them happy without you and still choosing not to break. It's deleting that message you wrote at 2 a.m. and never sending it. It's realizing that their love wasn't love. It was attachment, entertainment, survival. Whatever it wasn't pure. pure love doesn't give up, doesn't lie, doesn't make you beg to stay relevant in someone's life. You begged, you pleaded, and now you bleed. But guess what? That bleeding stops now. Time to war, soldier. And this war, it's against every version of you that kept quiet when they disrespected you. Against every smile you faked so they wouldn't feel guilty. Against every "I'm fine" that hid your agony. This is a war for your future, your peace, your damn throne. And you're not allowed to lose this one. You lose now, and you stay in this hell forever. But you fight right now, in silence, in discipline, in success. Then watch how the same people who ignored you start whispering your name in rooms you ain't even in. Watch how regret becomes their only companion. But none of that matters. Because this time, you don't fight to prove them wrong. You fight because you're finally done proving yourself to the unworthy. This time, you fight for you.
I couldn't help but laugh that night. Not because anything was funny, no, far from it. It was the kind of laugh that leaks out when your heart's too shattered to scream and too numb to cry. You know the one. That crooked, tired, bitter sound that slithers through your teeth when you realize this world was never built to hold you gently. You walk around trying to be kind, trying to understand people, trying to make something real out of all this noise, and what do? They take your loyalty and twist it into a leash. They take your silence and treat it like weakness. They take your heart and grind it under their boot like it was gum on the sidewalk. But you, you let them. Yeah, you let them. Don't look so shocked. You handed them the blade, smiled, and said, "Go ahead, cut me." Not with words, no, but with every time you stayed quiet when you should have roared. With every time you forgave someone who knew damn well what they were doing. Every time you stayed when you should have walked. They broke you once. Once. And that's all it took to teach you who you really are. But here's the twist. They thought that version of you was the final act. They thought the shattered you was the permanent one. What a joke. People don't like it when you start putting your pieces back together, do they? Nah. They liked you better broken. Easier to control. Easier to ignore. Easier to pity. But let me tell you something dark, something real. They need you broken, because if you stand up, if you rise from the mess they left you in, they lose control. You stop being their little secret disaster and start being their biggest regret. You know what I love about pain? It's honest. It doesn't lie to you like people do. It doesn't dress up in fake smiles or cheap words. Pain walks in, sits down and says, "Let's talk." And you either listen or you drown. Most drown, But you're still here, breathing, bleeding, but here. That counts for something. That means you've got the guts to crawl through hell barefoot if it meant peace was waiting on the other side. You remember those nights you couldn't sleep? When your chest felt like it was being crushed by invisible hands, and your thoughts were knives dancing around your skull? Yeah, those nights built you. While they were out there laughing, partying, pretending, you were in the trenches of your own mind, fighting for every breath. You don't come out of that the same. You come out dangerous. Not because you want to hurt anyone, but because you finally know what it's like to survive without anyone's hand pulling you out. They broke you once, but that was the favor, because now you know better. Now you see the masks for what they are. Now you see fake smiles, fake love, fake intentions, and you don't flinch. That's power. That's freedom. See, when you stop expecting anything from anyone, you become unpredictable. When you stop chasing people who can't even catch their own damn reflection, you become untouchable. Let them talk, let them whisper, let them wonder why you disappeared, why you went silent, why you stopped showing up. You were never theirs to begin with. You were a gift they weren't ready to receive, a storm they tried to contain in a teacup. And now the winds are howling and all they can do is run for cover while you build empires out of the ruins they left behind. I know it still hurts. That sting in your chest when you remember their words. That cold silence when you expected warmth. That moment your eyes saw the truth, but your heart begged for one more lie. I know. But here's the thing, they don't get to own that pain anymore. Not after what you've survived. You take it back. You take every wound, every betrayal, every sleepless night, and you build with it. Brick by bloody brick. Until your life becomes a fortress they can't even approach. You want revenge? Don't scream. Don't fight. Don't post your heartbreak online like some open wound waiting for pity. Nah, you go silent. You rise in silence. You build in silence. And when the time comes, they'll hear the thunder of your steps and wonder how the hell they missed the storm coming. That's power. You know what's funny? Not the kind of funny that makes you laugh, no. The kind that burns in your chest, tightens your throat, and makes your heart whisper, never again. It's funny how they look at you now. Quiet, cold, focused. But back then, back then you were soft, warm, full of that naive little thing they call hope. You used to believe people meant what they said. That when someone said forever, they didn't mean until someone better shows up. You thought love was supposed to heal, and it didn't, did it? No. It tore you into pieces you didn't even know existed. Pieces too sharp to touch. Pieces you tried to glue back with silence, with fake smiles, with pretending, but deep down, you were bleeding every damn day. They broke you once, cracked open your ribs, and watched you love them with everything you had, while they gave you the minimum they could without feeling guilty. You begged without words. You screamed in silence, and they just kept walking, like you were a ghost they had to unsee. You ever wonder why they never look back? I'll tell you. Because people don't like to face the wreckage they caused. They'd rather pretend you healed than admit they destroyed something that truly cared. That's the world, kid. And it doesn't care how much you loved. It only cares how well you rebuild. So now what? You gonna sit there and hope they come back? You know, let the same knife twist in your chest twice? Nah, we don't do that anymore. Because now you know. Now you understand that being broken wasn't your fault. But staying broken? That's on you. You see, pain's a teacher. One that doesn't whisper sweet things like promises and lullabies. It yells. It shows you the truth with no filter. It strips you of illusions, makes you face the mirror without flinching. And you, my friend, have seen that mirror, haven't you? You stared into it, into the hollow version of yourself, and you decided, I won't stay this way. That was the moment everything changed. Not when they left, not when you cried, but when you looked your pain in the face and said, enough. You learned the hard way that silence is louder than screaming. That walking away is heavier than begging. And that being kind doesn't mean letting people step on your soul like it's a doormat. You thought being good would keep people around. Turns out being too good only makes them think they can mistreat you without consequences. But you're different now. You're learning that strength isn't about showing your fists, it's about showing your limits. It's saying, I'll love you, but I won't lose myself doing it. That's real power. That's the kind of fire they didn't see coming. Look at yourself. Not the mask. Not the voice you fake just to get through the day. I mean you. The one who stayed up every night trying to understand why you weren't enough. The one who kept forgiving people who wouldn't even say sorry. That version of you, he was real. Too real. And people don't like real. It scares them. Because real exposes fake like sunlight exposes shadows, so they ran. And you thought it was your fault. It wasn't, it never was. You were the gold in a world obsessed with glitter. You were the calm in a storm of noise. And now it's your turn to become the storm. No more waiting. No more hoping they'll change. They won't. People rarely do. They come, they take, and when you're empty, they vanish. But you're not empty anymore. You've got rage. Controlled, quiet, disciplined rage. The kind that doesn't scream. It builds. The kind that doesn't destroy. It evolves. You know what's more terrifying than an angry man? A silent one. The man who doesn't talk back. Just disappears. The one who doesn't argue, just levels up. That's who you're becoming, not out of spite, but out of survival. They broke you once, but you let them. You gave them access. You gave them space in your soul. That chapter's over. Now, you guard your peace like a war zone. You stop explaining to people who only listen to reply. You stop chasing. You let silence speak for you, because trust, that's no longer given for free. They want access to you now. They gotta earn it. Every second, every inch, no exceptions. You know what they hate the most? Not your anger, not your distance, your progress, your glow up, your peace, because that proves they never broke the real you. They just woke him up. You know, people like to pretend pain is some kind of test, a badge, a noble war scar. They walk around with their stitched up hearts and cracked smiles, acting like it made them better. What a joke. Pain doesn't always build you. Sometimes it breaks you into little tiny pieces and then steps on what's left. And the worst part? You were begging for something real, not a palace, not perfection, just something that wouldn't turn to dust in your hands. But they saw the softness in your eyes and the gold in your soul, and they played you like a song on repeat. They broke you once, and that's enough. Never again. You thought love meant loyalty, that being there, listening, sacrificing, forgiving, that all that would buy you permanence. You thought if you gave enough, you'd earn there forever. But people, they don't cherish what's given freely. They taste it, use it, enjoy the flavor, and spit it out the second it loses that sweetness. You were gold on their tongue when they were starving, but the moment they filled their bellies, you became disposable, replaceable, just another name they'd forget by winter. I bet you replayed everything, didn't you? All those nights you stayed up, questioning yourself, trying to find the moment it all slipped, trying to figure out what you could have done to stop them from changing. Here's the truth they won't tell you. They were the ones who switched lanes, not you. You were still holding the map, while they were already driving to someone else's destination. People leave long before they walk away. And when they start acting strange, cold, distant, they've already packed their bags emotionally. You just didn't want to see it. You wanted to believe that if you held on tighter, they'd remember what you meant. That they'd come back to the version of them that used to make you feel safe. But darling, that version died the moment they decided their comfort mattered more than your peace. They broke you. No poetic sugar on top, no soft ending, no fake healing quotes. They tore through your soul like it was a cheap curtain. And you still tried to sew the damn thing back together while bleeding. That's what gets me. You had every right to become bitter, angry, closed off. But instead, you stayed kind. You stayed real. Even with tears choking your voice. You stayed honest. And that strength most people will never understand. It's not just surviving. It's surviving without becoming like them. But hey, now it's your turn. You've seen behind the mask. You've felt the sting of betrayal deep enough to leave you speechless. And silence? Oh, it teaches more than words ever could. From now on, you don't owe anyone the soft version of you. If someone wants access to your warmth, they better be ready to guard it. You don't open the gates just because someone knocks nicely, because most people knock just to see if you're still foolish enough to answer. No more explaining your heart to people who treat it like a joke. No more showing up for the same ones who left you standing in the cold. You gave them the blueprint and they built a palace with someone else. Now, you burn the blueprint and build something no one can touch. They broke you once, but now you're the kind of storm that remembers, the kind of silence that stings. And when they come back, and they always do, don't speak, don't scream, just exist in the calmest, coldest way. Let them drown in the absence of what they took for granted. That's the only justice that makes sense in this cruel little world. No revenge, just your peace, protected like a kingdom they no longer belong to. And when they ask what changed, you look them dead in the eye and say, me. And don't you dare think healing means going back to who you were before they broke you. That version of you was too soft, too trusting, too willing to believe love was enough to make someone stay. Healing, real healing, it's becoming someone who remembers the fire without being consumed by it, who walks with the pain not as a burden, but as proof. Proof that you lived, you lost, and you learned. You don't need closure, you need discipline. You don't need their apology, you need your own boundaries. Stop trying to prove you're enough for people who already decided they don't value you. That's not strength, that's slow suicide. Let them talk, let them say you've changed. Let them whisper your name like it's cursed. Because in a world that broke you for being real, changing is the only way you survive. You keep your heart, yes, but you protect it now. You let love in after it proves it can stand the weight of your past without running. You move in silence. You observe more, you speak less, because once upon a time your voice was a gift, and they treated it like background noise. Isn't it funny? The ones who ghost you, forget you, hurt you, are the same ones who panic when you finally act like you don't care. That silence, it terrifies them. Because now they have to live with the version of you they created. A version that doesn't wait, doesn't beg, doesn't explain. A version that nods and keeps walking while their world crumbles behind your back. Let them. That's the consequence they bought with your pain. You owe no one your light, especially those who dimmed it. You owe no one your forgiveness, especially the ones who never asked for it. Your peace is not a public service, it's a fortress, and the only ones allowed in now are the ones who'd rather lose sleep than ever see you hurt again. Anything less, they can watch you shine from a distance.
You know what's funny?
The ones who smile the widest usually bleed the deepest. The ones who crack a joke in every room are the ones who scream in silence when the lights go out. I've seen it again and again. You walked in that world with hands wide open, naive, raw, real. You gave people the blueprint to your heart, trusted them not to set it on fire, and what did they do? They studied every line, every flaw, every weakness, and then they lit the match with a smile. They broke you. Cracked you open like you were nothing but a disposable toy, and you let them, because you thought being good meant being soft. You thought loyalty was still a currency that meant something in a bankrupt world. But let me tell you something real, kid. You're not broken anymore. You're reborn. And they don't get a second chance to shatter you.
You see, they only break you once. The first time, that one hurts. That one scars. That one digs in deep. But it teaches you, it teaches you more than 1,000 books and 1,000,000 smiles ever could. It teaches you who's real and who's just clapping while they wait for you to fall. It teaches you how cold the world is when your soul's on fire and no one brings water. It shows you how love can feel like poison when it's placed in the wrong hands. And the best part, it forces you to wake up. No more fairy tales, no more blind faith and empty promises. No more stretching your heart just to make someone else comfortable in your pain. That part of you, the innocent part, they killed it. And maybe it needed to die. Maybe that was the price of becoming who you were always meant to be. You don't owe anyone your softness. That's the biggest lie they fed you. Be kind, be patient, be forgiving. Sure, be all that, but not for the ungrateful. Not for the ones who saw your kindness as a weakness to exploit. Not for the people who disappeared the second things stopped benefiting them. You see, they loved you when you were easy to control. They adored you when you said yes to everything. When you bent over backward and broke your back just to keep them standing. But the second you stopped playing their little game, when you started asking for the same energy in return, they vanished. Suddenly you were too much. Suddenly you were the villain in their little bedtime story. Isn't that adorable? The same people who broke you now want to paint you as the bad guy. That's how you know you're growing. When your silence starts to disturb them more than your loyalty ever did. So what now, huh? You gonna keep crying over people who sleep fine while you drown? You gonna keep waiting on apologies from folks who don't even think they did anything wrong? No. That ain't the path anymore. You walk alone now, but not empty. You walk heavy. Heavy with wisdom, heavy with scars that turned into armor, heavy with all the things you survived that they thought would finish you. You want to know what real power is? Real power is when you no longer flinch, when someone lies to your face and you just smile, because you already knew. When someone leaves without a word and you don't chase, because you already saw it coming. When betrayal hits and instead of breaking, you laugh, because you expected nothing and still gave everything. That's who you are now. Not bitter, not broken, just done. Done giving gold to people who only see dust. Done shrinking so others can feel big. Done bleeding for those who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. That pain, it didn't destroy you. It refined you. Burned away the softness that was being used against you. Rewired your heart
to beat only for those who earn it. Now you walk with silence on your shoulders and fire in your chest. You don't speak to be understood anymore. You speak to be heard. Or you don't speak at all. Because not everyone deserves access to your voice, your time, your energy. Let them talk. Let them twist the story. Let them play victim in a story where they held the knife. That's not your business anymore. Your job is simple now. Rebuild. Quietly. Ruthlessly. They broke you once. Never again. They lost access to you the moment they proved they didn't deserve you. That version of you, the one that begged, the one that chased, the one that waited, dead. Bury it, mourn it, and then leave it behind. Because the new you, they won't know what hit them. And when they come back, and trust me, they always do, they'll find someone colder. Smarter, sharper. Someone who sees through their act before they even open their mouth. And you won't even be angry. You'll be calm, still. Because there's nothing left to prove. You already won the second you chose yourself. The second you stopped explaining. The second you realized peace is louder than pain. And silence is deadlier than screams. So smile, kid. Not because it's over, but because it changed you. And that change, that's your revenge. You see, it always starts the same, doesn't it? First, they smile at you. Oh, they adore you, don't they? You're the good one, the soft one, the helper. They eat from your hands, they drink from your kindness like it's water in a desert. And then, when they've had their fill, they turn, just like that. No warning, no thunder in the sky to let you know the storm is coming. They flip the script. Now you're too much. Now you're too emotional. Now you're the damn problem. Isn't that the joke? That you were only good when they needed something. Only worthy when you were useful. The moment you showed pain, the moment you said, hey, I'm hurting, suddenly you became inconvenient. But let me tell you a little story. Not one of those fairy tales, no, a real one. You were broken. Not just scratched, not bruised, shattered. Piece by piece, they pulled the soul out of you. And you still loved them. That's the most disturbing part. They fed you silence. You gave them loyalty. They stabbed your back. You bled trust. And after all of it, you still hoped they'd come around. Hoped they'd see what they did. Hoped maybe, just maybe, they'd feel a little bit of guilt. But people like that, guilt doesn't sit with them. No, it sleeps easy because they sleep on beds made of lies they told themselves. That you were the crazy one, that you were the one who ruined it all. Isn't that rich? But let me explain something serious now. Cut the jokes for a moment. You survived. Not healed, not whole, but breathing. And that's a goddamn miracle. You carried pain so loud it echoed in your silence. And nobody heard it. Not one of them. You smiled in their face while screaming in your mind. You were your own rescue plan. You were your own ambulance. You dragged your heart across months of betrayal, self-doubt, guilt trips, and cold nights. And you still woke up, still worked, still kept going. That's not weakness. That's strength that they will never understand. Because the ones who pretend to be strong never carry the kind of darkness you swallowed. They fold the moment things get a little tough, but you are already living in the collapse, and you kept walking.
You want to know why they broke you so easily? It wasn't because you were weak. It was because you were pure. You gave without thinking. You loved without holding back. And they thought they could mold you, use you, tame you. But now you know. Now you've seen what hides behind pretty eyes and soft voices. Now you know not every I love you is sacred. Some people say it like they say hello, temporary, meaningless, routine, but not you. When you gave it, you meant it. And that's why it cut so deep when they walked away, when they ghosted, when they moved on like you were just a bookmark in their story. But here's the thing. You're not the villain for surviving. You're not the villain for going cold. You're not the villain for cutting ties. Let them call you bitter. Let them call you distant. Let them say you changed. Because guess what? You did. Pain changes you. Silence sharpens you. Betrayal teaches you. And now you're no longer soft clay. You're carved in stone, not fragile, not breakable. You don't owe softness to the people who danced on your wounds. You don't owe explanations to cowards. You don't need to shrink just to keep others comfortable. They broke you once, but never again. You see, people think being nice is your default setting. They think it's weakness. They don't realize it was your choice. You chose to be kind. You chose to be loyal. You chose to give. But they mistook your patience for permission. Big mistake. And now they're gonna see what happens when the one who gave everything decides to give nothing. When the one who always stayed silent starts speaking with action. When the one who stayed becomes the one who disappears and doesn't come back. Don't let them trick you into believing you're hard to love. Don't let their inability to handle depth make you question your worth. People drown in shallow waters because they were never built to dive deep. And you're the ocean. You carry storms. You carry wrecks. You carry hidden treasures and ancient pain. You are not for the weak. You were never for the weak. And that's why they left. Not because you were too much, but because they were never enough. Now listen to me carefully. You don't heal by going back to what broke you. You don't fix yourself by stitching your soul with the same hands that tore it apart. Stop answering ghosts. Stop looking for closure in the same room you were murdered in. Stop hoping for apologies from people who don't even think they did wrong. They moved on because they could. You survived because you had to. You ain't the same person anymore. You're colder now, sharper. And that's okay. Because the world doesn't deserve the soft version of you. Not anymore. Now sit with that. Let it burn, let it sting, then rise. Not for them, not for revenge, not even to prove something. Rise because you're not meant to stay on the floor. Rise because pain was the sculptor and it carved something unshakable out of your bones. Rise because that's who you are.
You've been quiet too long. You've been understanding for too damn long. You've given too many second chances to people who didn't even deserve a first. That ends now. No more softness for the undeserving. No more warmth for the cold-hearted. They had their chance. Now you give them silence, you give them distance, you give them the version of you that doesn't beg, doesn't explain, doesn't stay.